Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Real Talk with Ben podcast. I hope you're having an amazing week. I'm so glad you decided to tune in to maybe hear some encouragement for the week, maybe hear just some, I guess, a little bit of a story behind what this last year has been for me, and hopefully just some really honestly, just some encouragement for you to have going into the weekend. And if you're new, my name is Ben, and this is my podcast where I talk about life, I talk about ministry, I talk about stories that just appeal to me, but ultimately I want to serve Christ and honor God in everything that I do. So I hope you stick around. I hope you stick around past this one. Maybe check my other videos out on YouTube and just let me know what you think and really what's been on your heart lately as well. And so without further ado, let's get into this. So I was sitting there, and by the way, if you hear like weird talking or if you're watching and I'm like mumbling, I bit my lip. And so like, it's really hard sometimes to talk in certain like letters. So like, yeah, if you're watching, I'm so sorry, but it's like, it's really puffy. And so I'm trying, you might be able to, I don't know. I just know it sucks for me. So anyways, that's besides the point. But anyways, I wanted to get into what we're going to talk about today. And I thought about it really long and hard, kind of like, what was I going to talk about? What are some things that I could talk about in this time that maybe is a little different than what I've been talking about. Maybe add a little spice to the soup per se. I don't even know if that's a saying, but I don't really care. I'll make it a saying. And I came with this. So about a year ago, actually, I think about a year ago, maybe it's a year coming up. I can't remember exactly the date, but I officially finished college. Even though technically I finished back in May of 2019. I finished my degree portion in December of last year. So yeah, it was just weird. My whole schooling, that was kind of weird, but I finished it. And fun fact is that I never really taught after I got my degree in early childhood education. As you know, I started the process of becoming a missionary while I was finishing my degree. So I never really finished. I did finish. I never really taught fully. I did a long-term sub stint last spring, early winter into the spring, and then I left to come here. So I never really did a full-time teaching, which I'll get into in a bit. But I do get to use the skills that I learned every single day. I pretty much, in some form of them, I use them. And I always will say that you can always use the degree that you get. But I wanted to answer 3 questions, and these 3 questions, man, it's hard for me to talk. I'm so sorry. I wanted to answer 3 questions that I remember either it was at like a senior seminar, or I don't remember what it was, but like someone asked them these 3 things. And I thought it was really cool because I think it gives you a different perspective on kind of what is life after college and kind of what each person goes through. The first one is, what have I learned? And I know that's just such a broad question. I know that's something that probably many people probably get. And honestly, sometimes people might wonder, Ben, why are you talking about it? You've only been graduated for a year. But I'll tell you, this last year has been crazy, as we all know. I love how I spent my first year out of college officially during a coronavirus pandemic in another country. So on top of that, I would say one of those answers is simply just, life isn't easy. And I know that's a cliche to say, but I think we get fooled in this day and age. I think we get this kind of that false security that life is going to be great. I think a big thing for that is just like the whole, I think, media and social media and everything like that. Like, they make you feel like life is going to be so much fun, which it is. I'm not saying it's not, but it's going to just be this fun time. Whereas it can be hard and it can be challenging. And I know for me, over this past year, it's been very challenging, personally, emotionally, I guess spiritually as well, in a sense. And I think that's one of the biggest things I've learned is like, life is not going to be just white and black or black and white. It's going to be varied based on a person and a person's experience. I think God, I don't know what he intended necessarily with, each individual plan for somebody, but it just seems like everyone experiences something different. You might experience something similar, but it's always something that's a little different. Focus on what God wants you to focus on. And I think that kind of moves in that second point of that question is like, God definitely had different plans for me. Um, I'll even think about how I finished, last year. I knew I was coming here to serve. Obviously, I was raising support. I was excited. I was thrilled. And to be honest, I came here thinking that I was going to be using my degree to an extent because I'd be working with the English and not only just maybe helping teach English, but also just helping develop some plans and lessons and stuff like that. And it's funny because I spent maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks tops focused on that. And then it kind of just, it disappeared for a while. And then it obviously just, I moved in a different direction. And I think that's what I mean by that is like God sees what I think all of our talents are. God knows how he can use us and how we should be used. And at the end of the day, it's very easy, I think, sometimes to wonder why God did this or that. And I think though what's so cool is the fact that he knows exactly where you need to be. And I wouldn't trade this past year for anything. And I want to make that very clear. Um, just because it was a little difficult and just because there's different plans than what I expected. It's one of those things where, hey, I got to get over it type mentality, and accept the fact that God definitely had different plans for me. And along with that, he had some amazing plans for me. I get to meet Rebecca, who I wouldn't have met if COVID doesn't happen. So that's why I always say, like, I'm thankful for COVID in a sense. I think really because of two things. I think one is just it taught me a lot about like myself. Like when I was in quarantine, I was really by myself a lot. And then it, obviously introduced me to some amazing new people, some friends, spending time with people. And it's definitely kind of opened my eyes on that side of things. And I think I'll finish up that question by answer just life can be fun. I want you to think that I'm just some downcaster that thinks life sucks at all the time. Life has been amazing this past year. I mean, I don't know how many people get to be their early to mid 20s and get to live in another country, serve the Lord. I didn't get to travel as much as I was planning this year. I've been here 9 months and I was already, I had all these plans of traveling, going to different countries, and I was really excited about it. And that never happened. But still, traveling to different places inside of a country, experiencing new things, and life can be fun. I think that's another thing. I think the same thing with life is not easy. It's kind of like it's kind of a truth that we don't always see in the world. I think the same thing is it can be fun. I think a lot of times we just see this negativity, or we just see this like fake fun, if you know what I mean. It's kind of like this kind of artificial fun that people just talk about on TikTok and Instagram and then make you feel like you can't have fun. But God creates each of our paths differently. And I think, we have fun where, you find joy. And if you find joy in the Lord, I think fun happens anywhere you look. Sometimes the most fun I have is watching a Netflix show. I mean, that's just fun for me. Or, I know Rebecca and I love just to, when we're in Budapest, walk around the city and like, that's fun for us. I know I enjoy just having conversations with people. Surprising, right? But no, that it can be fun. It can be fun. And so that's kind of the answer to the first question. What have I learned? And I think the second question, this is a question that I think I could have even answered nearly probably earlier this year, but I really want to answer now was what do you miss the most about college? And again, it's been a year and a half really since I've been on campus. Obviously, as I finished up last fall, I wasn't on campus at all really, except a few times. So I haven't been on campus life, anything like that since I think May of 2019. So you're talking over a year and a half. And I remember even being like last fall, I was missing it so much. And people always ask me like, what do you miss about it? You talk about how Cedarville is amazing, it was, and it is. And you talk about how you struggled through different things. So how can you like truly miss a place? And I think it's so cool. I was actually talking to a friend about this today. Like, it's so cool when you just like see someone post that you went to college with, or you see a video from like 2 years ago that your student government put together, and it brings back these memories. And now they're not always great memories, but they're memories that have shaped me, and they're memories and there's things that I've went through that have shaped me. And I'll tell you, those are the things that I miss the most. Are they creating the memories with people that I consider friends for life? Ryan and Jesse are two guys that I still stay in contact with, and sometimes I just think about the times we had. I think about some of the guys. I think about the guys I lived with in my house my senior year, which we didn't always do a ton together, but we just had great conversations. I think about working in the summer after my senior year. I think about the basketball team and all these different things. I think about was just like I miss making those memories. Going to Italy after my freshman year. I mean, how many people get to do that? And all these different things was truly a blessing. And I definitely miss those. I definitely miss making memories. I miss my friends. Like Jesse, for instance, I have not seen him since graduation day. So it will be almost 2 years when I get back to the States since I've seen him. I mean, we FaceTime and stuff, but it's going to be almost 2 years. Ryan, I haven't seen in a long time. Trey and some of these guys that I got to know. And it is hard. It is definitely a challenge at times. But at the same time, it's great memories. And like I said, and it creates great memories. I think another thing I miss about college is just like the simplicity. I tell people that like it's so fun to be in college because there's some days where you would have 4 classes, another day you'd have 1 or 2, and you could kind of you had more flexibility in your day. And obviously weekends were always fun. And I am jealous of like my brother who gets Chick-fil-A on campus where, on the weekend, if I wanted to go get Chick-fil-A on a Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, I had to drive 45 minutes, whereas, here it's like, oh, you can go across campus now. But no, I just miss those kind of things, where you have that flexibility. Obviously being an education major, it kind of got less and less as I went on. But I think a third thing is like the education side of things. I think I miss my professors. A lot of them really helped me. They helped shape this guy that was probably not always equipped to be a great teacher. I think there's a lot of times where I just didn't understand or didn't get it. But they really helped me understand different things. And I miss a lot of them greatly. I think finally is just like the people of Cedarville, not just my friends. I know I just talked about my friends earlier, but the staff, I worked for Brian Burns and my mentor, Lauren Kuhn, and a few other people that I really, really, truly got to really love being around. And, to this day, I always say that my best boss ever was Brian Burns, and that working for that about year and a half, almost 2.5 years almost of just, being on Sting and then moving to SCAB, Student Center Activity Board. I know it sounds gross, or now called CAB, I believe. Those were some of the best years, and those were the last 2 years. And like, I still have so many amazing memories of just different things we did. And it's crazy to look back on and to think that I was a freshman in fall of 2015. Which is just so crazy to me, like that's 5 years ago. And it's truly remarkable. Sometimes I think about that. Like, I just felt like yesterday I was in college and I was enjoying time. And even thinking about high school, I was even thinking about that the other day. Like, I was a freshman, like what, 10 years ago, like in high school. It's just, it's so weird. I turned 25 next summer. And I say all this, I'm not trying to reminisce. I'm not trying to make this a reminiscing episode of the podcast. I'm really not. But at the same time, I kind of am. But I guess missing about college is okay. Like I think some people tend to say, well, you need to move on with life. I believe that the best memories sometimes are the ones that you remember and the ones that you can hold on to. And those are the ones I hold on to. And so I wanted to finish up. Last question is just simply, what's some advice for college students, even not college students, but just, I guess, other individuals that are at this age? And I think my big thing is just enjoy what God has given you. I think it was very easy for me as I finished college a year ago. It was very tough. I think, I felt like I went 4 years and I felt like I wasted 2 of the 4, I think, the first 2. I think I obviously made poor choices in relationships, even in some friendships. And it's very hard not to look back on that stuff and go, this sucked. And maybe it did. But at the same time, God has given you those memories and those experiences to learn from. God has given you those experiences to understand how to be a better person, how to be a better believer, follower of Him. That's one of the biggest things I've learned is that I'm now able to use those mistakes and the choices that I made, and I'm now able to help others. I'm able to help mentor other young guys or maybe other people that are going through something similar to that I did, and that's okay. And I think it's very easy to look at someone else's life that maybe graduated with you or is at the same point of life as you, and you're like, they have it all together. Don't believe the lies out there. Don't believe the things you don't know. I think one of the biggest things that I struggle with sometimes is looking at other people and thinking they're more successful. They have, better finances. They have more things, more technology items. And I have to remind myself that I'm here on this earth for one purpose, and that is to glorify God, and that is to share the gospel. And so if we get caught up in the things we can't control, right? That's what I've been really thinking about a lot lately is just what can I control? I can control how I act towards other. I can control, what God calls me to do. I can't control where people are at what time. I think that's a really big thing. So I guess I really just want to encourage, and this is not just for, me. I mean, not just for you, but it's for me as well. It's for everyone, no matter what your age is. I know this is more about my college, a year after college, but I really just want to encourage us all to look at life a little different. Uh, don't be so stuck on the appearance of what you are. I know that I struggle with that a lot, but instead focus on what people see in your heart. Who do they see? Do they see Ben Bowden or do they see Jesus Christ? Because at the end of the day, that's what I hope. I hope that's what I do. I hope that's what I show people, and that's ultimately who I want to serve. And so, at the end of the day, if I'm not serving Christ with my actions and with my choice of words and my choice of places I go and stuff, then I'm ultimately failing Christ. I'm failing the mission, which is not good. And so, yes, I've been graduated for a year and really officially only for a year, but I've learned so much in a year. And I think we all need to look back and maybe it's not because you graduated last year. Maybe it's just because it was a good moment in time last year, or maybe it was just a time you want to point. I think as we get closer to the new year, I want you to take this year, think about this year. What has this year taught you? What has this year brought to your mind? Maybe some new things you want to try, maybe some different methods of how you study the word or how you reach out to other people or how you be a better encourager, be a better person. Because friends, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how many likes you have on Instagram. Doesn't matter how many views you have on a video or listens on a podcast. What matters is what you do and how you do it. And make sure it glorifies Christ. So as you go throughout your day, as you go throughout your weekend, so you head to church on Sunday, let us not think about what we can, I guess, what we can and can't control type thing, but instead focus on the fact that you're serving Christ. And I guess in a sense, you can control certain things, and that's your attitude towards others, your attitude towards Christ. So friends, I first want to thank you, especially a lot of you that have known me through college. You've helped me get through to where I am today. So has a lot of my family as well. And let's take a look back at this past year, no matter where you are in life, and really look to see if God is the focus of your life. And so with that, I just want to say thank you. It's crazy. This is episode, I think, 71, which is crazy. But thank you so much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed just hearing a little bit of story. It was more like a story time with Ben this week. But I really hope you enjoyed it. And if you want to hear more stuff like this, let me know. I always love feedback. I always love what I can change up. But if you love this episode, go ahead and favorite it on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Make sure you click that follow, all that fun stuff. It kind of lets you stay in the loop what's going on. And same kind of on YouTube. If you love this video, click that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and that will allow me to see that you're enjoying it. Allow my videos to get out there a little bit more, allow my podcast to be listened to more by more people, and hopefully be encouraged. And remember, ultimately, I want to do this to glorify Christ and to really share his grace and his goodness. And so once again, I want to remind you of this, that we serve an amazing God and that he is faithful and we can trust him. And as always, we'll talk next time.